What's up, Jeremy? This is a demo video for you for the DV6 V3 that you just bought from me. I had bought this from Corbanth, and I just wanted to try out designing a chassis for it and installing it and then posting it up for sale, and then you were the one to buy it. This is my favorite Darth Vader Saber. I did install it with a Proffie. I think that you were tuned in on the live stream that I just did with over there with Benji and Jesse, and I finished this up. Okay, I was gonna do this for you tomorrow, but I'm gonna go ahead and do this tonight so that you can go ahead and see how it works. One thing that I haven't done yet, because I just didn't have the time tonight and I'm tired, is I got to go through and I got to put this greebly on right here. So one thing that I did for a chassis retention is I took this greebly off, that looks like this, and it looks like this one over here. I took this off, I put a little grub screw in there, and then I'm gonna have to take that greebly, shave down some of the threading, and then glue it back on so you don't see that grub screw. All right, but how to get to the chassis, you just wanna unscrew the handle. So we'll unscrew it like this. Now you've got two different options for this chassis. You can leave it alone like this, and then you can get to the battery from here, which we'll pop in here in a second. So you've got a removable battery set up. You've got a 28mm Smokel's Outpost Elite speaker. You got your Proffie board here. You can have easy access to your SD card and your micro USB. So you do everything from here. Just pull that out with a pair of tweezers, and a 90-degree data cable fits in there perfectly. All right, that's how I did this Saber, so I know that it fits. If you want to see the rest of the stuff that I did to the chassis, when it's in this position right here, you want to take the chassis and you want to turn it counterclockwise until it clicks. It'll click just like that, and it'll stop. Once it stops, take it and pull it straight out, just like that. That little grub screw that I put in here, right here, is because I wanted to put a J-lock system on the chassis itself, so that when you're putting this back in the Saber, that grub screw will ride along this cradle or this groove right here, and then when you turn it clockwise, boom, like that, it locks itself in place. So that helps you line up the switches, which is right here. You've got two plunger switches right here, what look like flathead screws. Those are your plunger switches. So it helps you line those up. It also helps you lock the chassis into place so it won't move on you. All right, this is running a Carl Chen Neopixel connector right here, right there. You've got two different 8-pixel accent strips. So you've got one 8-pixel accent strip that's back here. If that'll focus, there you go, right there. You've got another one that's over here behind these windows, and then you have an OLED screen over here as well. All right, so I did all that, and that's what the chassis looks like when you take it out of the Saber. Excuse me. You and I were talking a little bit about blade styles. Each sound font, although there's only one on here right now, each sound font will take 4 blade styles, and it will go in this order. Your first blade style will be your blade. Your second blade style will be the first 2 pixels on these cards. Now, these 2 cards are wired together, but they are their own separate blade style. So although it's a total of 16 pixels on your blade styles, it's a total of 8. All right. So your first blade style is your blade. Your second blade style is the first 2 pixels of the card. Your third blade style is the middle 4 pixels of the card, and then your fourth and final blade style will be the back 2 pixels of your card. So I broke those cards down into 3 sub blades, basically, is what I did there. All right, let's throw a battery in this guy.
You, like your father, are now mine.
So you got your OLED screen working. It goes to your battery meter. You've got these going. Now these will act the same because they're wired together, right? So anything that's happening over here is going to be happening over here too. And they are on a timer. So if you don't turn the Saber on right away, these LEDs will time out and it won't kill your battery. Matter of fact, we'll just kick it for a second. See, yeah, they timed out. So now when you go to put this in, you want to make sure that your groove here is lined up with that grub screw. Now when you go to put this in, if you feel like you're not quite sure if it's lined up, it's very easy to tell from here. We take this blade plug out. Whoops. Take the blade plug out. I don't know if it's not gonna show up in the light very well, but when you get this in person, I can look down the emitter and I can see that cutout right here for the groove, right? And then it's also very easy to see that grub screw. So if I'm looking over here in the light, I can see, okay, that's lined up, right? And then what you want to do is push it all the way forward until it clicks, just like that. And then now you want to twist it clockwise. And you want to twist it clockwise, and then when you do, your board will be perfectly aligned with your switches, and now your switches will work. Your front one is your power. And your back one is your auxiliary. We'll turn it off just like that. And we'll put the handle on. One thing I did tell you about this handle, I was about 2 millimeters long on my chassis, or basically I was about 2 millimeters long or short on the speaker pod. So what I should have done is recess the speaker into the chassis just a hair more. I mean, like barely 2 millimeters. What was happening is the speaker was rattling up against the back of the pommel because the pommel is flat. So what I did there, and I told you about it, is I took the pommel. Let me screw this on real quick. What I ended up doing was taking the pommel and backing it off about 2.5 threads. I'm going to try to show you here, but it's barely anything and you can barely tell. All right, but there is about 2.5 threads I backed off, and then I did glue this pommel in place so it doesn't move on you. That's one thing I had to do on this particular chassis. All right, but once we got this all put together, we can come over here and hit power. So your LEDs are firing up. Auxiliary down here. And I gave you twist off. This is your blade retention screw right here. All right, that's your blade retention screw. We can back this back out of the blade socket. I made sure that the blade plug that came with the Saber still fits all the way. So it's nice and flush like it's supposed to be, nice and flush, and it lights up very nicely. If we close that down and turn it on, very nice shine through, right? I'll go ahead and take that out. Very easy to come out, put a blade in. This is set up for a full-length blade, although I'm going to use my TriStar blade from Civilized Sabers, Space Windu. He gave me a very cool test blade, and I like to do my demos with it when I can. All right, but put your blade in, lock it down with your blade retention screw, which I just use my fingers here, and then come back over here and turn it on. Good flash on clash. To get blade lock up, you want to hold down the auxiliary and hit the Saber. And to play your soundtrack is a long press on the power. Right? And another long press to turn it off. Oh, not long enough. Just like that. All right. So one more time. And we'll turn it off just like that. We'll take the blade out, and then I'll show you. We'll put your blade plug in, so I don't forget that. When you're all done, we'll take this handle off. If you don't feel like messing with the J-lock system and getting the chassis all the way out, and you just want to leave it like this, just come over here from the positive side of the battery by the speaker, and you can pop it out with your finger just like that. And it's essentially like a static chassis, right? We only take it out if we want to look at, you know, all the stuff that we got going on up here. All right. So we'll put this back together. One thing I'll do before I ship this out, obviously, is I will make the adjustments to that greebly that I have to put back on here. All right, and then your Saber will be done. And that's basically the DV6 V3. If you buy it from Corband, that's what it's named. If you get this from KR Sabers, I believe Cal is calling it the Dark Lord DV6. Let me know if you got any questions, and if not, this guy will go out on Monday. All right, thanks, man.